Hello, it's Tim, clearly coming from my car. Nothing else felt right today. I've been on the road back and forth forever. I don't know if the song will, if it will come through or not on this. It'll just be for a moment. It's Sleeping at Last, Saturn. Um, haven't heard about my friend. If you hear a phone call, it means I'm pausing and I'm probably getting some news. Um, I have been in the hospice room pretty much 8 hours a day since a week Thursday. I did a class. I actually, did facilitated a class from there. Supposed to be at a different point, so that I would just go to the lyrics, but that's okay. Um, yeah. So I look like a hot mess because I haven't no shower today. Oops. And I'm wearing yesterday's clothes. Mm, yeah, that's pretty much how it goes. All right, let's see. Maybe I'll turn it up and see. Start before you let our light carry on, even after death, with sure this you explain the end. Yeah, I read beautiful to even I couldn't help but ask you to see it all again. I tried to, I could never find, I got anything to hear. You say it one more time. That the universe was made just to be seen by my eyes. I couldn't help but ask you say it all again. I tried for some, I can never find them. I get anything you say all the time. That you was more just to be seen by my. Okay, I'm gonna end it there. It's like if you just like, are you playing music? Set up audio, professional. And I'm like, well, I don't need to be professional. I'm not like making a nice, beautiful video, though my screen makes me like and the sun changed. I'm like, ooh, that's a hot mess. But yeah, sorry. That's not as easily done as when it's in my office. My parents have also been home. Um, yeah. My father fell also on the same day that I found out that uh my friend was dying. I guess you could say friend. I'm not allowed to say names or anything just because her family does not like me. And apparently they think that I've been talking about them in the community, and I don't know anyone even by name in my neighborhood. So I don't know what that mess is about. But you do what you do. So, you fight a few nurses. You're like, does the family want you here? And you're like, why wouldn't they? You don't necessarily have to say, absolutely not. They didn't even want me to buy applesauce. There you go. Yeah. And my dad fell, took out his knee, but not as badly as we thought. He will have to have knee surgery, but it's not like oh my God, you had knee surgery like last week sort of thing. But it's enough for the bedroom, which is why I'm like drenched. The it's downstairs is like a den, and it's now going to be a bedroom for him. So both my mother and father will have rooms downstairs, which is shift for me. It's a hot moment. So yeah, so lots of change, lots of stagnation. My routine is off, and if anyone knows about needing a routine, that's me. I need to get out. I need a routine. Those are my two stipulations of life. So I'm in my car making a routine. I don't know. We do what we do. So I will like put like little timestamps like if you do not want to listen to Kim's music and you do not want to have to see the setup audio settings the whole time. Yeah, there we go. I certainly know. But if anyone ever needs to talk, please let me know. I mean, I found like a lot with the friends that this woman has, my fourth grandmother. Her friends and I kept her alive, not the family. And I'm like keeping alive. I mean, like for the week, no one was even helping her eat. She can't move her hands. She can't. She swallow a hot dog, hamburger. Oh, don't get me started. I've started myself. So I've learned a lot, both about me, about other people, and what I've learned the most is not what other people talk about you. Like, it's not like what they like, think and say about you that matters. Like, no one cared that her children told me to stay away from with my parents, and that was like before like she was in her bed. This was like when I was buying food for her, and so like but it's about actions. Everyone saw me there every day. And like we could have had a barricade of walkers to keep me there. I'll let you know that. Okay. Well, phone is on. You can see me like going like that. Okay. Usually I have everything sort of turned off so nothing will make noise. And like even if I video edit, you'll still probably hear like Star Wars a ring and I'll be like, but anyway, you gotta do what you gotta do. I have two new sets because I was doing my parents downstairs and doing like a lot of heavy lifting and taking furniture. And I was like, you know what? I'm doing tarot today. I need a new sets. I don't always do that. I'm not always like, oh, I need a new set. Lately, I have been. But like these two, I think I'm gonna start. Oh, that one's gonna take longer. So we'll start with the one. And you can't say that I like, pulled the card, okay? Because I was like, it's card number one, or technically zero, right? The fool. But like, like when you see a card, well, and you like put it upside down, no, and you're like, this, this is our card. This is our card, folks. The Fool. Okay. And the Fool has whimsy and all sorts of stuff associated with it, going on adventures. And that's why I just asked, like, the community, like, tell me about small adventures, small things. We don't have to have, like, huge things of beauty. Now, Carter has, like, enchanted, I don't know even what it is or what it's called. That is not what I'm suggesting necessarily. Nothing big or grand. Sure, have a pebble and enjoy it. But this idea of this fool and whimsy, okay? I just love this card. And like it was obviously the first one in there because they're in order. So I can't say like, oh, randomly. No, it wasn't quite random. And yet I was like, okay, meaning complete folly, happiness, letting go, change of circumstances or environment, fearlessness, lack of logic, not using one's head. And I want everyone to know that none of those are bad things. I have found that more things get done by everyone if we leap in our logic. We don't go 1 to 2 to 3. Sometimes you go 1 to the finish line, if that's 10. And then you're just like, yes, here we are. And when you leap, right? Things get done faster. And usually things are much more uh creative, I guess you could call it, but less streamlined, less orthodox. And that's not bad. A lot of people associate with folly. Oh, it's that folly. It's like a negative word. It even sounds like a negative word because of that F. But it's not. Folly just means that you followed or you are falling, right? There's so many things that you can say are negative, and yet, really, they aren't. When you say you're falling in love or that love is a folly, are you saying you'd never do it again? Sometimes I do say that, but all right. This little fellow appeared to me one day when I was experimenting with drawing fairies in my room. I could not see with my eyes, but I did see with my inner vision. I simply held the pencil and let whatever wanted to come out be drawn on paper. The little guy who came through told me his name is Hobody Wart. Pronounced Hobart. Oh, excuse me. I mispronounced it. Hobody Wart. And he went on to say, I have fun and dance on stones, skip on water, jump in the high grass. I love this world. Don't we need more of that? I personally need to love this world. I need to fall in love with this world again. Create some folly in my life. I really felt it might be offensive to Habari to make him be the fool, but he insisted, and the process he helped me understand the meaning a little better. As you can see, Habari is rather topsy-turvy position, appearing as if he might go head first into the water next to the stone on which he's dancing. Let me get back up again. Okay. See, he's on the stone. Yet he seems perfectly happy, unafraid of the consequences if he were to tumble headlong into the water. Even so, he does seem to come completely in control of his actions. Okay. And I'm not going to read like the whole shindig because it's talking about it. Now this is by Beth Wilder. The Twilight Room. I should like really like have actually like read that first. It's a really nice book. Nice book. Put it on my dash so that everyone knows that, tarot reading is going on. Yeah. Hey, that's like one way of making money. Right? The reading's cool. Mhm. Fine. I already have somebody putting nails in my tires. I have one in there now, and I just keep putting air in. The last one was insured. Is over $400 for one tire. And I'm like worried this next one will not be insured because it's like the same tire, the same placement. And I'm like, oh no, 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 no. You'll see. That's folly. Um, okay. So this one is pretty cool. This is going to take the time. The American Renaissance Tarot, illustrated by Celeste Powell, and it's by Theo Warshing. And this, let me tell you this, it is shaped like a book. Yeah. Like, so to get, no, it gets no realer. I was just gonna actually like purchase tarot that had like something very similar with the eye. And instead I got this. I didn't realize that it also has an eye. I'm like, yes, I still got it. Still got the eye. So now these are top skipped and dumped. I had to take them. There's not like a million like with the Buffy one, but there are several. So we're gonna start. It's a harder book to sorry. Like sometimes these books are harder to like deal with, like obviously in bar. Like you do, and you have the setup and just be like, yeah, sure, this is the way it's done. You might just need a magnifying glass. I don't know. No, you're not the missionary of coins. We got the six of coins first, which is what I'm trying to find. The missionary of coins, I haven't figured out if it replaces the king of coins. I have to figure that out because there is definitely without a king of coins, and it's not a knight, so I don't know. I'm like, all right, well, you do you. Now, this has to do with like American history and American literature and such. So bear in mind, if you are not in the United States, um, these are some fun, interesting ideas and facts. You don't have to be like, oh my gosh, the US is fine. I like the book idea. And it talked a lot about authors. So this is the six of coins. You can see. Okay. I'm going to put it down. The six of coins reverts to an early point in the narrative of the life of Frederick Douglass. When Douglass is learning to read, this is the weirdest. I'm sorry, it's the weirdest. Like they have like this circle, and they have all the wording around it, trying to do the text. When Douglass is learning to read, the traditional meaning of the tarot card is a gift. And if you draw on it, you're probably receiving one. Gifts comes in many forms besides tangible. However, as this card is a gift Douglas receives, his rudimentary literacy. His mistress, Sophia Auld, begins teaching her young slave his ABCs before she realizes that her slaveholding society considers this to be an inflammatory act. The card depicts the master, Hugh, breaking in upon Frederick and Sophia once he realizes that his wife is doing, and he puts an immediate stop to it. And I hold it up again. Sorry. So yes, dealing with slavery. And there is a lot of denial, by the way, by going on in the United States. So like this might have just gotten very political very quickly in my area. I don't know. Well, here you are. It happened. History happens. There's a lot of people who do not believe they don't believe in history. Or we all have our own idea about it. Okay, so this is of course depicting what is about to be, him being told, Sophia herself is being told he's a slave. He is a slave. He cannot, learn to read or write. All right. So young Douglas is grateful for his master's alarmist reaction to education, which clarifies, quote unquote, the white man's power to enslave the black man, and also outlines, quote unquote, the pathway from slavery to freedom. Douglas claims that the resistance of his master was just as educational as teaching he received from his mistress. Okay, that in itself says a lot. All right, now I can get it up here. The very decided manner with which he spoke and strove to impress his wife with the evil consequences of giving me instruction served to convince me that he was deeply sensible of the truths he was uttering. It gave me the best assurance that I might rely the utmost confidence on the results which, he said, would flow from teaching me to read. What he most dreaded, that I most desired. What he most loved, that I most hated. That which to him was a great evil was carefully shunned, was to me a great good, to be diligently sought. An argument which he was so warmly urged against my learning to read only served to inspire me with a desire and determination to learn. In learning to read, I owe almost as much to the bitter opposition of my master as to the kindly aid of my mistress. I acknowledge the benefit of both. And it is from the Narratives of Life of Frederick Douglass. I've always had a little hard time reading it like aloud just because it's very formal. And it has a note of 216. So probably I don't know if it's a note into this book or if it is a note into like where and Frederick Douglass said it. I just lost a card. Hate it when that happens. That's when it's called The Shuffle. Oh, interesting. Okay, well, this is the next one. I was gonna say, did they decide, to like change like their order, which happens. This is let me get it. All of ours were upright. So when I put it, if it goes like in my hand, it means it might be an iffy thing. Okay. I didn't say what the six of coins really meant yet. I realize this, okay, but having the missionary of coins with it, I think, will say a lot more. Because like the six of coins, I really feel is about like potential and learning both parts. What you learn from both sides. What is people against you and also the people for you. Just like what I was saying about myself about like learning how people actually see you is like actions. That's sort of like this card. Like you learn from other people like reactions to you and what they say and what really matters. Especially if it's opposed to you and you're like, well, then. And that's how I get with the Six of Cups. It's very in between. The 10 is always considered like almost completion. So 6 is like on its way. So like with the Fool coming, we're on our way into journey. Coins are usually with abundance. Obviously coins like money and that sort of stuff. But it's sort of like this one was much more like knowledge bound, Like the knowledge is where it is. Let me just like they have like ones that you're supposed to say in a reading. So like And there's a lot more. There's like another paragraph. All right, so there's literacy, education, a gift, lucky break, getting a leg up, charity, receiving, a telling resistance. The other words are painful consciousness, learning through adversity, sealing fire. Oh, I like that one. Sealing fire, raising your circumstances, unfitting yourself for exploration, tree of knowledge, the good and evil. Okay, I'll take all of those, right? Yeah. Like, in all honesty, I still think it is like just learning from all sides. Like I'm complaining about how, US history, like not everyone believed in it. But that's me like also taking a side versus seeing both sides. People aren't necessarily being, learning it. So how can they be held accountable for that? So that's, then up to us. I'm sure this is happening in other countries. I doubt I live like I doubt it. We are a solitary country, within a solitary world, right? Okay. Now the missionary of coins. This is probably not the best deck for this. I apologize. All right. All right. This is Martin Delaney. He's the missionary of coins for the American Renaissance Tarot. Unique among 19th century Black activists, Delaney was of full-blooded African descent and extremely proud of his lineage. By the 19th century, African Americans had already become mingled people. That is in quotes, okay? I want to make sure it's very much in quotes because it is no longer really considered um proper. It goes beyond politically correct, okay? Yes, accurate at times, but we want to be completely sensitive to all things, all right? That is what it is in quotes, so it probably has to do with how he wrote it. So the United States want the visibly lighter than their African ancestors because of the abuses of female slaves by their white slave masters. Miscegenation. Oh God, Kim. Sorry, miscegenation. Can't say it now. I used to be able to. Or race mixing was an inflammatory and painful topic for both blacks and whites. Yet Delaney took the position that the purity of the races should be kept intact, and on this point, he was in agreement with racist white ethnographers. All right, and so see the devil card. So, oh my. So, okay, so he's on the opposite polar. Like you're both a polar opposite, and also sometimes when you're a polar opposite, you actually have the same belief as the other side. It's just the opposite extreme. So, in contrast to abolitionists like Douglas, who advocated the integrationist policy that would eventually prevail in America, Delaney believed that African Americans would only rise in a society which they constituted as an essential part of the ruling element. That's in quotes and in bold. He promoted the idea of immigration to Central America, the Caribbean, and Africa throughout the 1850s, and expedients to Black people regaining the self-sufficiency denied to them in the United States. Okay, now, I have to move a little bit. So it's like, there is a paragraph here that he wrote. Our friends in this and other countries, anxious of our elevation, have for years been erroneously urging us to lose our identity as a distinct race, declaring that we were the same as other people. The truth is, we are not identical with Anglo-Saxon or any other race, the Caucasian, pure white type of human family. And the sooner we know and acknowledge this truth, the better of ourselves and posterity. We have then inherited traits, attributes, so to speak, the native characteristics peculiar to our race, whether pure or mixed blood, and that is required for us to cultivate these and develop them in their purity to make them desirable and emulated for the rest of the world. Now, a lot of that, beyond political on all sides. It's sort of like where you want to be very, very much um care careful's the wrong word too. Turn aside, like cautious, loving of all sides. This is still like teaching history, even though it's making me uncomfortable, right? History makes us uncomfortable. Oh, history. Okay, but like that had a footnote of 236. Okay, so it's difficult to take issue with Delaney's race pride or his enthusiasm for immigration, given the culture that which was lived so xenophobic. Okay, so absolutely, of course. Um, but in my world, I live in PG County, Prince George's County, Maryland, and we are, I don't know, my nickname was Snowball. It's fat and white. Sort of says it all, doesn't it? I was always a minority, and it's never been. I mean, like, I don't want to be like, it's been a problem. No, not like it's not like it. Other people, of course. Okay, but this might be a moment to think about extremes. Think about how the fool goes into this reading. Um, we're sort of being asked not only to like look in all directions. Yeah. So in this reading, the extreme face of survival, stability, tradition, growth, and mastery. All right. And then it also, this is interesting. See, this is the first time I've used this. So you or someone else is a or an libertarian, founder, Freemason, chauvinist, in the military, physician, realtor, obstinate, proud of their roots, Taurus. Oh, I'm sorry, Tauruses. You were just thrown under the bus. Not really. The idea of survival is one that we were keen to. I mean, like, how can we not like decide that we need to have survival? No, that's sort of like where we are in the world is like just trying to survive. I don't know. I am fighting the sun. Yeah, it's a losing battle, my friends. It's a losing battle. All right, next one. Oh no, Kim, the sun. That's hysterical because I didn't know which one was going to come first. We have both the sun, and like I sort of like let the cards like tell the story. It's like, like if I put them in the book or whatever, like I do, you probably see me like taking out, you flip, you might like hit the wrong one. Wrong, right? I always think that it's somebody's like idea. Okay. The sun just coming now over here. Oh my goodness. Actually, I've missed the sun terribly. I have my light over there that sort of takes over. All right. This says Philadelphia, and it's two women's looking very ecstatically. Okay, very ecstatic. We're gonna try to do this, guys. We're gonna try to do this. In many ways, the Sun card is the most straightforward in the tarot. Clarity, vitality, and success crown the Sun's bearer. It is easy to comprehend the Sun card image. The feelings runaway slave Harriet Jacobs, all right, Harriet Jacobs and her companion Fanny must have had as they witnessed their first sunrise on free soil. Yes, damn, wouldn't that be? I mean, like, just like imagine. Wouldn't that be something? I mean, like, if nothing teaches us to love, it is that, that first breath uh, on free soil. I mean, like, I've been asking people to, tell me like a small thing, and that was like a small thing that is huge. Okay. Mm. Mm. I didn't know what I was getting. I got a tarot set that looks like a book, and that's what I knew. All right. So Americans literary lions of the early 19th century were Washington Irving and James Fenimore Cooper. Irving is best known for his fantastic tales, Rip Van Winkle and the Legend of Sleepy Hollow, and Cooper for the Adventures of the Last Mohicans. Irving and Cooper were America's first celebrity authors. Both then explored the emergent American identity, and their writings enjoyed international acclaim. They thus fitting in the Sun twins, the symbols of the old guard of American letters. The sun in your tarot spread suggests a time of recognition of your talents or the prospect of you being the center of attention. Okay, and the alchemical tradition, the sun is a symbol for gold, which is a alchemist quest. And and it's saying like the fool in this deck is like a money digger. Then the sun signifies the acquisition of the treasure the fool has been hunting, and thus the fulfillment of the quest. Now, that is not in every tarot deck. That's certainly not what I wrote in my book that'll eventually come out. Who knows when? Um, so that's extremely like amazing and important because we had the Fool card, right? We start with that. So that means like the completion of the journey with the sun. And it just said we get our wish. So whatever we have set off to do, we get it. I'm not allowed to say what I was just about to say on YouTube. There you go. Now we have our final card, I believe. Making sure the moon coming from the side. Yeah. Yeah, good job, Kim. Good job. I try. Sometimes. Sometimes you can't try any harder. Um, life is life's life. It's pretty beautiful. Sometimes I tell myself that you have to be a poet um to really like understand and like live life. And by live I mean like recognize beauty everywhere. But I am just desperately like seeking like, I it's the world, it's this thing. I don't know what the moon is. It's like I don't know who everybody is, you know? And you're like, I want to hear it. Oh, we can do this. I love pop-ups. And like I have a touch screen now. I don't know if I touch it, if you guys will be able to see it. The sun changed a little bit. Good. All right. It's the moon. All right. Early in the spring of 1848, two teenage girls heard spirit raps in their home in upstate New York and called out the devil, Mr. Splitfoot, to repeat the performance. The neighbors became so interested in the goings on at this haunted in the Hydesville. From such unlikely beginnings, the American religious movement of spiritualism was born. Sisters Maggie and Kate Fox captivated the nation, and this was them dates, excuse me, 1833 to 1893. Kate Fox, 1837 to 1892, captivated the nation with their seemingly ability to talk to the dead. Yes, this is starting to be the season. Not that there's not a bad season, but like this is like the all right. In the tarot and other medieval knowledge systems like astrology and alchemy, the moon was traditionally been given a negative interpretation, tricky. Oh, it says tricksy. Okay, sure. And changeful, fickle, as a woman prone to emotional outbursts. The moon's domain is a dark world of illusion and self-deception. But the Fox sisters introduced millions to the comforts of communicating through loved ones with the crossed over. They attracted just as many outraged detractors and enthusiastic supporters, accused of everything from fraternizing with demons to outright, can I say this, chicanery? I have no idea. I assume it means like they're fake. I'm gonna have to learn how you learn like a new word every day, okay? Yeah. Who knows? I know it's something that I should know. It's probably like who knows? I'm sorry. Words. Chicanery, if it is important to you. Some people are really all about words and they're like, that is the word that I needed. So please. Um, all right, their later lives were marked by alcoholism. And I guess Maggie Fox claimed that all the spiritualistic phenomena she'd ever produced were the result of skillful snapping of her toe joints, or a joke that had gone too far. Such damning assertion from a 40-year-old veteran of mediumship movement, citing financial hardship and ongoing conflict with older sister Leah, was reason for her turncoating. The impossibility of sorting out the truth, if any, is a web of contradictions. Don't you love that? That's why they are the tricksters, right? Or tricksy. I don't know, man. I don't know about that, Trixie. So their words. Since it's so interesting that I'm always about words and they give it lies, delusion, self deception, wishful thinking, one side of the story, partial truth, obscured vision, hysteria, superstition, the occult, mystery, wonderment, mediumship, news, media. And then a quote: there is no death, there are no dead. Okay. Now, what the hell does that, right? So the sun is completion. Yes. Okay. So we had a fool all the way to sun. And then like, oh my God, then there's the Trixie. Now, if you read it the way that I drew it, I drew the moon first and then the sun. So if that resonates with you more, please. Okay, sure. Fine. Please do. Um, as I drew it from the book again and they reordered themselves, I really do think that it can reach both ways. Um, the sun is completion, and it's not the idea that, oh, now it's a trick. Oh, I think it just means there might be a little bit of a hint of a warning. And I would actually say that is a hint of us. And like a hint of we are like might come in, like when disbelief is almost like worse than believing, or we have self-doubt. Now, self-doubt and hysteria are really sort of the same thing if you think about it. These words come from different places and different times, but like anxiety, that's hysteria. So like my anxiety prevents me from doing blah blah blah. Well, yes. And then you do what? Right? You have completion right there, the completion. So then what do you do to get there or to get back there, depending on how you read? And I would say sometimes you have to take a step back. That's one way, like actually as a visual, physical thing. You take a step back from the sun to the moon, or the moon to the sun. You take a step back and you just sort of take a moment of reflection. And I think reflection is probably a much better sort of word, especially when dealing with the moon in this reading. Okay, so it doesn't have to be tricksy. Just perception, reflection, looking into the sky and realizing how lucky we are. That sort of thing. I mean, like this whole reading seems to be exactly what I said my journey has been this week. Which is interesting because I always like get all of that out first. And then I'm like, okay, well, timestamp it. And this is your reading. But maybe this is the collective reading and what we really need to do and where we are at. We are the fool constantly, always. We're always finding new things. We're always having folly, bad folly. We're always falling, good or bad falling. Okay. And we are on a beautiful journey. Um, Beautiful. So you have your fool and you have your learning and knowing, like the opposite will help you more. You have your completion with the sun. I mean, like, yes. So even if you decide not to all the American history, um, yes, okay. Just take a moment, take a breath, see something beautiful. Look at some moss, look at a feather. I have like a really large puddle over there next to me that can be either considered ugly or like a small lake that is just waiting to be splashed. All right, go out there, be poets, because poets, I think this is going to be blasphemous, but I think if we listened to poets more than we did preachers or pastors or whoever you want to call it, I think we would probably have a better world, or we'd at least understand it. And poets know the micro and can show both beauty and terror. Have a wonderful week. I'll keep everyone updated, I'm sure, on my Facebook of any, I'm waiting for the call. Love you all. Be well. I am going to write someday. All right, take care. So it is.